Hi guys, today we are going to look at buying, selling and exercising options. So let's get right into it. To start, buying options. We covered buying options in the first lesson and here's a quick recap. When you buy an option, if at expiration your option is in the money, you make a profit. If it costs you $50 to buy the option, your final profit will be your total profit minus $50, which is the cost you paid for the option. If your option is out of the money, the amount you lose is $50, the amount paid for the option. Now as a buyer, the most you will lose is the amount you paid to buy the option. Now on to selling options. It is the opposite of buying. As a seller, you make money when the option expires out of the money. So if you sold the option for $70, your profit is $70 when the option expires out of the money. But if the option ends up in the money at expiration, the amount you lose will be the total loss minus 70, which is the premium you collected as a seller when you sold that option. So you can see that as a seller, the final amount you lose actually depends on how far in the money the option ends up. Let's look at a scenario to better understand this. In this scenario, we will look at the 120 call option for Starbucks and see how it affects the buyer and seller as the price of Starbucks changes. The current price of Starbucks is $100 and the premium to buy this 120 call option is $5. At the start, this option has not expired, so it is still active. The seller is currently positive, up $5 on the premium collected when he sold this option, whereas the buyer is currently down $5 as he paid $5 for this option. Now if Starbucks ends up at $110 at expiration, this means this option is out of the money and the seller earns $5 and the buyer loses $5. But if Starbucks ends up at $150 at expiration, the 120 call option is in the money. And in this case, the seller loses $30 as the option ended up $30 above the strike price. But keep in mind, the seller collected $5 when he sold the option, so his final loss is actually $25. And for the buyer, in this case, his final profit is $25 as well, as he has to deduct the $5 he paid to purchase his option. So you see that as a buyer, your profit is technically unlimited as the stock price can keep going up. And your loss is limited to how much you paid for the option. But it is the opposite for sellers, where they have limited profit but an unlimited loss. So this is the scenario for calls and it is the same for puts. But keep in mind that even though buyers have unlimited profit, it isn't always necessarily a good thing to be a buyer. Remember that when you buy an option, you also want to consider what are the probabilities that that option will be in the money, which is what we covered in the last lesson, the expected move. So do keep this in mind. Now, the next point I want to talk about is the outcomes from owning options. We've always talked about how an option can be either in the money or out of the money at expiration. But did you know that you can choose not to hold an option until expiration? When you own an option, there are three outcomes that can happen. You can hold the option until expiration, you can sell it earlier, or you can exercise the option when it is in the money. But keep in mind, this is only for buyers. I will explain more about exercising options later on. And yes, you can sell an option that you bought or sold. Let me give you an example to help you understand how this works. We are looking at a typical option transaction here. This is you and you are the buyer. This beach ball is the call option that you bought. Now on the opposite side is the seller and the basketball refers to the call option he sold you. Now at any time before expiration, you can sell the option that you own. So what happens is someone else can buy this beach ball from you and they will be the owner of the ball. Once you sold your option, you are no longer involved in this transaction. The new owner of the ball will be the buyer and he can decide to hold it till expiration or sell it earlier. And there are no limits to this process. So the new owner A can decide to sell it to B and B can then decide to later sell it to C. This process can keep repeating. But at every moment, there's only one person who owns the ball and he is the buyer in this transaction. Now, from the seller's point of view, it does not matter who the buyer is. There's no difference. He only deals with the current person holding the beach ball. He's not concerned about who owned it before or how many times it has changed hands. Now for selling options, the process is largely the same. You are the seller in this transaction and you decide to sell this call option. The basketball represents the call option that you sold. At any time before expiration, you can pass this basketball to someone else. You get them to be the seller of this transaction. Once they take ownership of the basketball, you're no longer involved. If at any point before expiration, they decide they don't want to hold onto it, they can also pass the basketball to someone else. What you will see is that at any point in time, there's only one person holding the beach ball and only one person holding the basketball. The person holding the beach ball is the buyer and the person holding the basketball is the seller in this transaction. Now, why would a person not hold his option until expiration and let it go earlier? Because the price of an option changes with time. The most common reason to sell an option earlier is to lock in profits or limit losses. Let's take a look at a quick example on this. So let's say you bought a call option and you bought this beach ball for $2 and let's assume there are 30 days to expiration. 15 days later, the value of this ball increases to $7. And this happens because as an option moves more and more in the money, its value will increase. Remember that we covered delta in earlier lessons? For every dollar increase, the option price will increase by delta. So because this option is now more in the money compared to when you first own it, and you decide to not wait till expiration and you cash out by selling this ball to someone else for $7 and collecting $5 in profit. That's for buyers. Now for sellers, the process is similar, but there are some differences. The first point to take note, the seller in this transaction, the person holding the basketball, always receives some money when they first become the seller. Here you are the seller, you sold this call option and you collected a premium. Now sometime down the road, you decided that you want to exit this transaction. You want someone else to take ownership of the ball and be the seller. Remember, everyone gets some money when they first become a seller. And the money will come from the current seller, you. So you will pay them to become the next seller. Now how much you pay will depend on the change in the value of the option you sold. Remember a few minutes ago I said, a seller only makes money when the option ends up out of the money. As an option moves more and more out of the money, its value will drop, and this is good for seller. Here's why. If you collected $10 in premium for selling this call option, say 10 days later, this option moves further out of the money. The value of the basketball falls to $3 and you decide that you want to exit this transaction early. So to get someone else to be the seller, you only need to pay them $3, which is the value of this option at this point in time. You collected $10 and you paid out $3. This nets you a $7 profit. Of course, this happens when the option moves out of the money. If this option were to move in the money instead, as you were holding on to the basketball, let's say it went to $19 instead of $3. Now, if you want to exit this transaction early, you have to pay someone else $19 to be the seller. And by doing so, this will cause you to lose $9 from this transaction. Take some time to think about this and try to understand what is happening. Initially, when I first learned about this, it was very confusing. I was like, I can sell an option again after I sold it? But then I realized when you buy or sell options, essentially you are just owning the rights to being a buyer or being a seller. You can transfer these rights to someone else, and the rights are shown as the colored balls in this example. So I hope this has been useful in giving you a better idea on the transaction process of buying and selling options. The third and final outcome from owning options is an option can be exercised. Remember that calls give buyers the right to buy 100 shares at a certain price, and puts give buyers the right to sell 100 shares at a certain price. To exercise an option, means to use your call or put option before it expires to buy or sell shares at that price. Keep in mind that only the buyers in the transaction have the right to exercise options. So here's a simple example. You own a 135 call option for Apple, and the current price for Apple is $150. If you exercise your call option, you will buy 100 shares of Apple at $135, and this will cost you a total of $13,500. This will net you $1,500 in profit. Keep in mind that only American style options can be exercised before the expiration date. If you trade European style options, you cannot exercise your options early. But in general, people rarely exercise their options. I think maybe only 5% of all options get exercised, and they are normally exercised nearer to expiration. The reason for this is you are throwing away some value when you exercise an option early. Remember that the price of an option is made up of intrinsic and extrinsic value, and extrinsic value is made up of time value and implied volatility. When you exercise an option early, you are foregoing the remaining time value on your option. Also keep in mind that when the buyer chooses to exercise their call or put option, a random seller will get assigned this option. So there's a system in place that chooses sellers randomly. Once assigned, depending if it's a call or put option, the seller will need to deliver 100 shares or buy 100 shares from the buyer. Most brokerages require sellers to have sufficient capital or meet certain margin requirements before allowing them to sell options. Reason being is the potential loss a seller can incur is much higher compared to a buyer. So the last point on exercising option is, at expiration, all in the money options will get exercised automatically. So do keep this in mind. Make sure you have sufficient capital if you're going to hold in the money options till expiration. Now here's a summary of what we've covered. In options, you have buyers and sellers. At any point in time, there's only one person who is the buyer and one person who is the seller. Buyers want the option they bought to be in the money, and sellers want the option they sold to be out of the money. The value of an option changes with time. An option that moves in the money will be worth more, where an option that moves out of the money will be worth less. For buyers, their profit is unlimited and their loss is limited. For sellers, their profit is limited and their loss is unlimited. Buyers have the right to exercise an option before expiration, and sellers are required to deliver the shares. Do keep this in mind, and always remember you can exit your position early by selling it away to someone else. Now, I initially wanted to cover some option strategies, but I believe you will agree that this lesson has been pretty long. So I'm going to park it under the next lesson. In the next lesson, we will look at some simple strategies and how we can use options with stocks to get better entry prices. It will probably be the last video of this series, so thanks for watching. See you in the next lesson. As always, feel free to leave a comment if you have any questions and I'll do my best to reply. If you found the video useful, it would be awesome if you could like the video and share it. If you have the means and would like to support the channel, I have a link to my PayPal below. Any donations would be very much appreciated. Thank you.